Good morning everybody, and welcome to Spurn Point. If you're not quite sure where Spurn Point is, it's basically a little peninsula that sticks out into the Humber estuary. I'll put a map up now and let you have a quick look at it, where it is in the UK. But basically it still has a lighthouse at the end of it, and it used to have an RNLI base, which is now moved, I believe, on the other side of the estuary. But the lighthouse is still there, the buildings are still there, and it also has a nice bird sanctuary, which is very, very popular to all the twitchers and the bird photographers. Yeah, it's looking pretty good this morning. I thought I'd try something slightly different this morning. I've done a morning shoot in the past. My last time I came down here, I did an evening shoot. And today we're going to have a crack at an 11 o'clock shoot. So I say 11 o'clock purely because the high tide is bang on 11 o'clock. Just do a time check, and basically it's now 20 to 10, so I've got plenty of time to get to my favourite groin. I'm not quite sure if the tide's going to be high enough. I've checked the tide times, and the tide times say that 11 o'clock's high tide, and we're going to have a high tide of 6 meters. So looking good. Sun's showed its face for a little while. Hopefully it'll disappear and we'll have a bit of cloud, so we'll have some softer light. But we'll just go with it. However, what I didn't take into account was these 25-mile-an-hour winds. So we may have a bit of fun. We may not have some soft ethereal water, we may have some wild water, but hey, let's give it a go and see what happens. So, that's me, ready to rock and roll. And what we'll do is we'll catch you when I get further down the beach, when I get to the end. Okay, I've put all my camera kit on there now. You've seen me do it before, so you can check other videos out to see what my setup is. So I've saved about a few minutes by doing that. So let's get down here and do some quick pictures before we move up to the next stage. So I think what I'm going to try and do, I'm just going to stay on the dry stuff. Keep the tripod on the dry stuff. Hopefully I'll have a more stable base. You can see the sea coming right in now. And I'm going to shoot down the ground, so I'm going to zoom in a bit more now. I know I'm losing those wonderful clouds, but I think I'm obviously going to have to use one of these rocks down here, probably this one here. So let's focus on that rock there. Let's bring it up a little bit higher, move it across. More sky, I think. We love the sky. Let's bring that into there. Bring it down again onto this area here, click onto there. Thank you very much. That's looking good. Make sure my horizontals are good, which are, check my display. There we go, and I think horizontals there. Let's just go for that there, bring that into there. That's lovely, that's amazing. See if the polarizer is going to do anything with the sheen on the actual sand. It should does, it brings it in. Take it out. Watch the sand in the foreground. There you go, goes nice and black. Right, focus again, just check, find a bit of contrast, hit that button there. Okay, let's take another one. That's another one going through the can now. I'm not sure if my favourite groin is going to be photographable because it's so wild. So let's have a quick look at that. So we're just going to press play mode and bring you into camera so you can have a look. And we're in play mode now, so you can see the focus point. I'm going to zoom into that focus point, and that looks much sharper around there. Liking the look of that there. That's it, that's better. Let's do a quick check on the exposure. Exposure spot on. Right, let's come out of that now. So we're done. What we're going to do now, we're going to head up to my favourite groin now. So, right, we're at marker 2, and we're at the tidal hut now. And the rock's just there. If you stand just there, you can look down into our first composition, which is my favourite groin. So, okay, this is my favourite groin down here now. You can just see the water's just about right now. Right, we're here. We're at my favourite groin. I'll just basically show you through the camera how I would set up. So at the moment, I've kind of lined myself up there. Fortunately, from here, the groins are not going to break the horizon, so I'm shooting down onto them, which is quite nice. What we'll do is take you into the camera. So basically, I'm still set up from before, which was 30th of a second, F11. So at the moment, we're still on F11. ISO, I'm going to take down to my lowest now, which is going to be, that's my lowest ISO, and that's just about right there. So I'm now going to turn over towards this bit. So basically, my first picture, I'm going to just concentrate on this groin here first. Going to get my horizontal sorted out quickly, which is there. Going to get my graduated filter, bring that in correctly like that on for the sky, which is lovely there. See the difference? Bring it in. There you go. Just lost you. Bear with me for a second. So, right, where were we? We were looking at the polarizer, debating on whether the polarizer would do the business. So let's have a look at that now. Is polarizer in? Yeah, let's leave it in there, that's nice. Line it up there, it's going to a bit closer on the zoom. I'm going to take that one first to see what happens there. So I don't expect a lot from this one. And then again, what I'll probably do is I do what I normally do. I'm going to go this way a little bit more. I'm going to bring you into camera now, let you have a quick look. And we're in camera now. So look at that. That's not a bad picture, that. I quite like that. Just check my exposure. Exposure is just under exposed, which is great for all those white waves there. And let's just check my focus point. Focus point is actually, that'll do. That's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move over this side here. I'm going to change my composition. So we will come back here when it calms down a little bit more. But I'm going to go over here, guys. I think the light's a little bit softer this time, so we stand a better chance. See how this one goes. I prefer this angle because I'm getting more of a 45-degree angle, so I can see up the other groins. And I'm going to bring it down, actually down just a little bit. There we go. Check my horizontals. Very good. Take the picture. That's the next one going now. It's done its bit. Wait for it to wake up. I'm going to press it onto play. Okay, and I'm going to bring you into camera, let you have a look at that. Let you have a look at that one. Check the focus first. I think the focus is okay. Yeah, that'll do. And then come back and then just do my exposure check. Just slightly underexposed, but I think that's as good as it gets. I'm very happy with that picture there now. So that's really, really good. That's in the can, that. I'm going to move over to the left a bit more again. The dreaded sun's out again. It's going to hopefully wait for the sun to disappear because it's so bright. It's killing it at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you back into camera to let you have a quick look. So once again, I'm just going to bring you down to here. I'm going to zoom back a little bit now. Let's use the groins at the foreground. I think that's not too bad. We're probably just going to do one from here. Let me pick this as a focusing point this time. Focus on there. Let me check my graduated filter. Let me check my polarizer. Bring that in again. That's better. That's much nicer there. And I think that's good to go. So it's just a case of now taking the picture again. And we're off on the next one. There you go. That's not too bad. And that's in the can. There's not much more I can do with that. Let's have a look at another angle. I'm going to move over to the left again and then see if we can get another angle there. Okay, I'm going to go up on this bit of concrete to be safe. So again, what I'm going to do is going to bring you into camera because obviously you can't see nothing but me on a rock. So let's have a look at that. Whoa, my goodness, that was close. But no, that's okay. So I'm going to lift this up slightly. Let's put my focus point in the middle. Let's bring it down to about here. Focus on that one. If I focus on there should be well enough focus points there. Let's have a look at that. That's good. And I think that's not a million miles off. Check my polarizer now because I've moved. That's got a bit more about it. Checking the polarizer again, bring it back in there. That's it. Take the picture. But I'm on hard standing this time, so I should have a really razor sharp picture. That's nice. Let's check. Okay, I'm going to bring you into camera. Let you have a look. Okay, we're on play now, so I'm going to click onto the focus point. That's nice and sharp there. Loving that. And that's really nice. I like the softness there. That's nice. I like the reflections in the bottom right hand side there. Yeah, that's not bad. It is wild. Those waves are wild, aren't they? It's bad. Oh dear. You never turn your back on the sea, ever. Never. I'm loving those clouds. I'm actually going to do a shot. Nearly got caught. And I'm just going to turn it over here. Me being a cloud boy. I do love a bit of clouds, so I'm going to come up here. I'm only going to do a shot just for the clouds. Look at that. I'm going to take I'm going to take my 10 stopper out quickly because I just want a shot of those clouds only. So there you go. So I've now on 30 seconds. Let's whip it back to a 30th of a second and see how far we're off the mark. We're not a million miles off the mark. Look at them. I'm just going to take that picture there because that looks absolutely amazing. I love that cloud above the groins at the moment. It's wild. That is absolutely amazing. So let's bring this down, 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 down to there. There, that's it there. Let's hit that again. I'm having a cloud moment at the moment. Oh, look at these. This is mega. Absolutely mega. I'm actually going to do a picture of that as well. So I'm going to put the 10 stopper back on again. I'm getting a bit twitchy again because these waves are coming in again. Oh my goodness. Put the 10 stopper on. So again, I'm going to go from a 30th of a second now to 30 seconds. Back the other way. Sometimes when you get clouds which are very cumulus, which are like, I call them Bart Simpson clouds, the little puffy cotton wool bud ones, they're pretty, but the problem is that they move and you get some really funny streaks and it just doesn't look very nice on long exposures. Whereas these don't seem to be moving that much. We're in play again. So again, just going to check the display. So it's there, but it's not as nice as when it's still. I like the movement a little bit, but it's just too much. So looking at that exposure there, it's a little bit overexposure, I think. Just check the exposure there. No, it's spot on. Absolutely spot on. And the groins are looking nice. We've got nice light. There's some really nice light on this. Beautiful. I'm going to do another one of them. I'm going to try and get that grad to pull this sky in a little bit more. There you go. Moving over to here. So we're almost getting like a slightly backlit picture. I think I'm just going to do a quick check on this one. Let me just do a check on the focus. Focus is nice. Look at that. Nice and sharp. Okay, and I'm going to bring it back. Going to check my exposure. It looks like I may have burnt out slightly. Right there, that's looking good. So let's move over here to the right hand side now. I think what we might do is do some faster shutter speeds. So let's do some like 2-second exposure shots. And we're on. So again, exposure is much better this time. Let's just come back out of the display there. Let me zoom into that there. And again, that's lovely there. I've got detail on the boards all the way back to there. That is pretty much as good as it's going to get today, I think. That's not bad at all. So again, come back out like that. The only thing I've lost is the sky. So that's that shot done. Right guys, I think that's us done for the morning now. We've done all right. We've managed to get one really good set of images from that, my favourite groin there. I've tried some other stuff, but it's just been a bit too wild and a bit too rough. And that's the reason I'm pulling it at the moment, because the wind's just picked up so much. I've come up here into the shelter to get away from it, just to do my closing piece. So thanks very much for staying with us this long. If you like what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe. Okay, we're back in the studio now. I was going to shut the video down at this stage and close it off, but I thought what I might do is show you how I would do my fine art post-processing using these beautiful sky that I did on the day with the slow exposure of the waves. So we'll be using Lightroom and we'll be using Photoshop. Lightroom will be doing the basic edits with, and then obviously exporting them into Photoshop, and then we'll be doing the layering process in Photoshop to blend the sky in with the slow exposure of the sea. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get cracked on and I'll show you the magic. Okay, we're in the Lightroom module now. So basically these are all the images that I took on the day, which was quite a few really, but it wasn't too bad. There's obviously quite a few of the faster shutter speeds, I can see by the clouds here. They're a bit more detailed. Just a quick blast through them. So I think going through the images at the start, I think this one here was my first image there, which wasn't too bad. Cleaned it up in Photoshop just a little bit and got it nice and punchy. And it wasn't too bad, a nice image. It wasn't too bad at all really, just a little bit cluttered around the outsides and all that. But mainly it was just to have a quick look at the clouds and do a test. So let's get moved on to the best part of it, which was going to be this bit here. And we're back into my favourite groin basically, which is quite nice, but as you can see by here, it's very, very milky and very, very hazy because the waves and the splashes from the waves are just a little bit too much really for some good fine art photography, but never mind. That's me cleaning up a little bit to try and get a bit of detail in there. Obviously it looked a little bit better in black and white, but that was just the tester. That was the first one there. And then we then moved back a little bit and changed the composition slightly again. So that was obviously the next stage there, which is quite a nice image there. I quite like that there because it's got the nice lead-in lines into the actual groin itself there. I found that the sky was just a little bit murky and a bit muddy and all that type of stuff there. You can see this is working okay around here. That works okay. This is obviously where putting a faster shutter speed cloud in would work a lot better and blend in the horizon. So basically that's what I did on the next picture. And it got a really, really nice fine art there. But it's a very gritty fine art. If you see it there, there's not smooth and all that type of stuff. So it's quite gritty, but I think it works quite well. I think the grittiness of the waves and all this type of stuff here works really well with the mood of the sky, really. So quite like that one there. and we're going to come back out, and then we're going to move across to our next composition, which was over here. And that wasn't too bad again. I liked the light on the front of the groins here. That worked really, really well. That worked nicely, and there was nice detail in there. And again, if I put this one with the fast shutter speed sky, that would work really, really well. Again, we moved on from there, and we went across to, I think we came further back now. So this is the furthest back when I was actually stood on the concrete block. And that's when I saw the clouds. I thought the clouds were just amazing. I thought they were really, really moody, beautiful. So I thought it's all about the clouds now. So basically it's going to be my my image from here. And this is going to be the one that we're going to actually clean up. So we're going to do this cloud here, and then we'll put this cloud here onto this soft light. And again, it's the same location, same position from on top of that concrete block, but we just got some really nice, sun that came just above us. And you can, again, beautiful detail in the front of these groins here, so you can see that there. Amazing. Look at that. Really, really nice there. Love that. And then they say the groins are nicely lit up there. So the sun must have been right over the top of us. You can see the shadows and all that there. I'd have been happy with these clouds and all that to keep with them. But the only problem is I found that this is just a bit too off-putting there. It's too much of a streak. So I didn't really like it. I would prefer the faster ones. So this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be using this one as the foreground. And then obviously we're going to be using this one here with the clouds in the background. So so let's get cracked on there. So I think let's bring this one up first. So we're going to bring the clouds out first. So let's bring this image in here into Photoshop. So let's just check it first. So we're going to go into develop mode on this one. Okay, it's already had a bit of work done onto it. So what I'm going to do is going to reset it. There we go. I'm going to put it back to what it was there. And first thing we do is obviously I'm just going to check the horizontals are good, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be moving them anyway, so this is not so important. It's just the clouds that I'm after really. It's going to bring the exposure. So again, I'm looking up at the histogram here, so all I'm going to do is it's going to take the whites. I'm going to push my option key down, move my whites over to about there. That'll do nicely. And then I've got a nice bit of contrast here going there with the clouds and all that. So we need to put a bit of contrast into these clouds. That's good. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of clarity in there. Clarity really punches them up there, and a little bit of dehaze, and that's probably it. So I'm pretty much happy with that there. This is a bit bright around here, so I'm going to bring a radial gradient there. I'm going to put that around here, just to bring that in. I don't want to touch this area. I quite like this area. I'm going to leave that alone because that's obviously going to be the bit that attracts your eye right in there. So I'm going to bring that into there now. That's going to come across to here. Let's have a look at that. And then just going to bring the highlights down a little bit, and then bring the clouds down just a touch. It gets dirty when it's too much. So just picking a happy medium basically. So just about there. That's about it. So once more, another radial gradient. And it's just a case of softly just go nice and steady. So again, I'm just going to bring it across there. I'm not too fussed about making this bottom bit dark because we're not going to be using the bottom bit. It's all about the skies. So let's bring that down to there and bring that bit of sky down to there. That's lovely. I think that will do there. So I'm happy enough with that there now. That'll be pretty good. So I'm going to export that now into Photoshop. So I'm going to press Command and E, and that will automatically take it across to Photoshop. So I'm going to click onto the Photoshop panel, and it should pop it up in a second. Here it comes. Obviously it's coming rather large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the image size is going to be 3840, which is basically for YouTube 4K size. So 3840 to give you the 4K crop. So that's it. I'm happy with that now. That's going to just stay there. And while that's there now, I am going to leave that there for now. Okay, I'm now going to go and collapse that and collapse that. And then I'm going to go back into Lightroom and find the slow shutter speed picture, which is going to be this one down here. So double click that. Okay, and that's the one there. So I think I've already done this one as a 3K. So I'm just going to press the R button, which will give me the crop. So basically before I start anything again, I'm going to turn it back and reset it to nothing. I'm now going to put the crop in there. So let's go for 16:9, which is my YouTube size. And then I'm going to use my spirit level and just get my horizontals correct. So I've got that spot on. That's good. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit there. That's probably enough there, and then bring this in just a little bit there, and I think that's about it there now. So that's looking good. I want it to be fairly high. I want lots of sky, because that's what it's all about, is the sky. So there you go. I think that's looking pretty good there now. Okay, so return that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and get a bit of detail out in the shadows. I'm going to bring a little bit of clarity in there. I'm going to bring a little bit of dehaze in there. Okay, so what I need to do is tone this down here. So I need to bring in the radial gradient. Let's click onto there, radial gradient. Let's bring this across to here. And we got it. Click. And we've got it. There we go. So I'm going to bring that across there. So I'm going to try and bring the detail back in the whites. So highlights first, and then bring that down gently. There we go. So it's just coming in there now. So if it goes too far, it looks dirty. So you just got to pick your happy medium. I need to give it a bit of punch, so I'm going to put a bit of clarity into it. Clarity works well, and even a little bit of dehaze in there, just to bring the separation in the highlights there. That's not looking too bad. This bit here needs to be done as well, so I need to create another radial gradient. Going to come across here. There we go. Move that up over to there. That's looking good. And again, highlights first. Just bring the highlights in a little bit, and then obviously I'm going to bring my exposure down just a little bit. That's it. I need to give it a bit of grunge, no, that's it there. That's nicer. And again, a little bit like that. That's not looking too bad. Again, I'm not bothered about the sky, so it's all about this bit at the bottom really. And I think that's not too bad. I'm going to try and pull out the detail in the subject, but I'll probably end up doing that later on. But we'll see what we can get here. Let's go for create a new mask, and I'm going to go for subjects, or select subjects, see how much of it will pull in there. It's done very well, but it's picked up a little bit, see the side of it, but I'll go with that. Okay, so I'm only going to be bringing out the shadow detail anyway, so let's bring these groins up. So if you watch the groins now, that's too much, and then we'll bring it back a little bit. So again, the groins are just starting to get their own little effect there, a little bit of contrast, and let's put a little bit of clarity in there, give them a bit of contrast within there, and possibly a little bit more exposure on those groins. Nope, too much there. That's probably about it there. I think just deal with the shadows there. I think that's as good as I'm going to get on that one there. So I'm going to do one more where I'm going to bring a gradient into here, but we're going to do a linear gradient this time. So I'm going to bring this across to here, bring that up to there like that, and then obviously I'm going to subtract the subject, which is going to be these groins. They should pop out there now. That's good. And then bring the exposure down again. That's lovely, not too far so it doesn't get too dirty. And again, give it a little bit of clarity. That's it there, that's looking good. And I think that's not looking too bad there. So let's export that now into Photoshop. So I'll press Command and E, and then that exports into Photoshop as well. So we're going to click onto the Photoshop page, and in it comes. So once again, I'm going to make this a image size 3840, which is 4K 16 by 9, and that's pretty much ready to go. Going to go OK, and then I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. As I said before, all of my stuff now just goes to YouTube, so which is quite nice. I've actually got an outlet now. So let's have a look at that there. So let me just do a quick check on my levels and see what we got. We're a little bit burnt out there. Let's bring this into here. That's not too bad. If I bring it too far, you're going to get that. So let's bring it there. I'm pressing the Option key there so you can see the burnout. So that's cool. Quite happy with that there. There we go. So that's not too bad there. Okay. And then even now that I'm in Photoshop, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to press Command, Shift and A, which takes me into Camera Raw. And then basically we've got exactly what we had in Lightroom, but I think it's a bit nicer than Lightroom really. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of clarity into this, just a little bit. But starting from the top, let's go to exposure. Let's have a look at this. I'm ignoring the clouds, so I'm not bothered about them. It's just getting this bottom bit right now. So that's nice. A little bit of contrast again. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that as it is at the moment. I'd like to pick up a bit of detail in these groins here. So a little trick on that. So we're now in Photoshop, so rather than asking the program to select up here, select, so we should be in there now, that's good, and go into select. Rather than select subject and go for all the groins, I actually only wanted to do this little area here. So what I'd do is use this rectangle marquee tool, and I'm just going to pick up there, that bit there only. I'm going to come down to there and lock onto there, and I'm going to press Command and J. So basically, if you look here now, all I've done is copied that little bit there, and then all I'm going to do now is select within that area only. So subject, so it gives you a better selection of those groins, and they should be done in a second. Oh, it's working out today. You can hear the fans going. Come on, I may have other programs running. There we go. So that's it. It's taken a nice selection of that. I have missed one there, so if I go in close you can just see that one there, but I'm not going to lose sleep over that one there. So again, once again, you've got your selection, press Command and J, which is basically copy and paste. So I'll turn the whole thing off, and then what you see is that the square that I selected, and then that's what is actually copied and pasted from that box there. So I'm happy with that. And what I'm going to do is take this square box, put that in the bin, don't need that. And basically I'm going to lighten these groins up now. So I'm going to go into Command, Shift and A again. So we're back into camera raw, and all I'm going to do is just going to pick up some shadow detail and try and pull some detail out of those groins there. So it's going to be quite hard, and that's as much as I dare go. If that's just too much, as you can see it happening now, so let's pull it back. So just a little bit of detail. So that's about as much as I'm going to get out of that. It's gone pretty much silhouette-y now, so that'll do. Go okay, and let's turn it on and turn it off and see it makes no difference. And you can see the difference now, so you can see where I've worked on the bottom part. So what I need to do is get a hold of my rubber tool, and then just going to rub off the bottom part of this. So it shouldn't take too long. There you go, bring it back into there. So I'm just going to rub off the bottom bit. Okay, the bit that doesn't look like it should be doing. So these light bits there you go, just nice and gentle. Okay, and again, there we go. What was my rubber tool? It's on 50% opacity, so that's not too bad. And again, and I think that's it. Very good. So coming back out, so I'm happy enough with that now. So what we're going to do now, we're going to create some magic now. We're going to bring the sky in. So let's bring the sky in. The sky is still open behind me, which is here. Okay, so I'm going to select all. If I deselect, all I do is just take the sky only. So I'm not even going to do a select sky in here. I'm just going to use the marquee tool, pick up the sky, and then see what we can use out of it basically. So I'm going to go just above the boats. There we go. Done. Copy that, and I'm going to paste that into there. So that's going to get pasted on top of there, and there it is. So let's get rid of this one. I don't need that anymore. And now I have a 3-layer picture. So I'm going to bring the groins that I did do work on there. So I'm going to join these two together because I don't need them at the moment. So I'm going to merge them. And then I'm going to move my clouds to where I need to make the magic work. So let's get my move tool. Let's move my clouds up. So basically we're looking at here. That's where it would be normally. So what I need to do, I want to probably bring it in so it sits at about there. That would be the area where I wanted to come in and do my blend. And that will be really nice there. That'll be spot on. So let's have a look at that then. So that's that done. I'm now going to go into, I'm going to just turn this little bit here slightly back so I can see where my join is going to be. So basically I'm going to do a blend from there to there when it comes to do it. So before I do that, what I need to do is select my groins. So I need to have all these selected again. So I'm going to turn this off for a second. I'm going to put a marquee tool over there. I'm going to make sure that the layer is actually selected that I'm using. So I want to keep a hold of all that. Okay, there we go. Make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm now going to basically copy and paste that. So obviously that's the bit I've copied and pasted. I'm now going to use that as my select subject tool. I'm going to try and get as many groins as I can with that one selection. Once they start getting to like misty and all that type of stuff, it's really hard, but that's done a really good job there. So if you look at that there, it's pretty much got all of them, apart from the last little two there. So that's really, really good. So I'm really impressed with that. Let's go in close up. If you want to add to that, what I tend to do here is use this tool here. Let's see if we can add to that. And I'm going to make it really small so it doesn't blur around the outside. So I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm just going to go gently into that area. So that's going to add to that, and that's going to add to that. And I think that's a grey one. There you go. That's spot on there now. So everything else is happy with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Command and J again. And once again, I can throw this box here, put that in the bin again. I don't need that anymore. And I've got my groins there waiting to go. So the groins are now going to go above my clouds. They're going to sit above that. They're pretty much ready to go. This is where I'm going to do the blend. And then I'm going to bring this bit into here. So what I need to do is going to put a mask tool on my clouds. So I'm going to create a mask. There we go. I'm going to use this tool here, which is going to be my gradient tool. I'm going to click onto that. Now this is really, really simple. It's really, really simple. So all you're going to do is bring my gradient tool down to here. I'm going to clip on the shift so it doesn't make it go off all over it. It keeps it nice and up and down. Keeps it vertical. So I'm going to click just above where the bottom is. Press shift, go up, and don't go past the line. Come underneath the line, which was the old line there, and that's it done. Now watch this. When I bring this back to 100%, you will not see the horizon. Look at that. There is no horizon. Isn't that amazing? Eh? Let's come back. And that has just done it. Now, it looks a bit odd at the moment because we've got lots of this browny, dirty, muddy sea. So all we're going to do is make life a bit easier, and we're going to make the whole thing black and white now. I could either use this one here, which is going to be a black and white tool, which now works really, really well, and you can see the groins starting to do their funny little bit there now, so I'd have to do a little bit of work on that. So it's a bit flat. I don't quite like that one, so I'm going to try another one, which is going to be a gradient map, which is really nice, and that puts a bit more punch into it. So I'm going to click onto reverse, take it away from smooth and put it onto classic, and then you're coming in to get something really nice. So basically the top one is the black and white, which is a bit flat. Oh sorry, the gradient map is at the top one there. So I quite like them, but I do like the simplicity one, believe it or not. So if I just turn them off for now, I'm going to show you this just simple way really, rather than trying to be clever and do all the other versions, is to go into the Photoshop adjustments, and you've got matte, neutral, cool, warm and strong. The strong is the one that I quite like. I'm going to click on that, and the strong has automatically put a black and white in there, which is this one here, and then above that is put another version, which is a contrast there. So that works really well, quite like that. Now I may add a gradient just to give it a bit more welly, give it a bit more punch. So let's go into the gradient map, and there comes the gradient map. Let's click onto reverse, click onto classic, and there we go. Let's turn that one off. So that's really moody, so that's a little bit excessive, that. So let's put that on, and let's just calm it down a bit. Let's tone it down a little bit and bring it down to about 50%. And that's looking really, really good there. Quite like that. Okay. And then so what I've got now, let's have a look at that. Let's just turn that off. Yeah, that works okay for me now. That's nice. Right, so what I've got now is I've got these groins at the top, which obviously don't fit. So I'm going to have to flatten that at the moment. So I think I'm going to have to bring those groins into here for now, and I'll have to redo them later on. Because if I do it the other way, if I turn them off, you can see where the gradient came down. So I need these to stay on, and I need them to turn to black and white. There we go. And that is that. Let me flatten that layer now. There you go. And what I need to do now is go into camera raw, and I need to pull in the harshness of these white bits here. So basically it's going to camera raw, command, shift and A. So let's get the detail pulled back here. So let's use these tools here. So I'm going to create a mask. I'm going to go for a radial gradient, create. radial gradient. There we go. Let's pull this detail back into here. And that should be okay. If we're just going to bring that down a little bit there. That's good. And then do another one. Radial gradient, and then do another one for here. That's good. That's going to come into there. And once again, a little bit of highlights out, and then just a little bit of exposure down. That's lovely there. I'm finding that this is a bit bright down here, so I need to do a linear gradient. So I'm going to bring this one up again from here. So I'm going to come to this area. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off, remove, subtract the actual subjects. Well, I'll be subtracting the drawings, so they'll disappear, and then I'll be able to bring the gradient in without adjusting the drawings. That's not too bad. I think I'm going to put a little bit of dehaze on that one there, just a touch. There you go, that's nice. And that's not too bad there, so I'm going to come out there for now, have a quick look. We're not a million miles away there now, so that's good. If you want to pick up little areas and just lighten them up and all that, this is another little thing that I used to do. Use this tool here. Since we're in the area of about 23 megapixels, let's use this tool here. I'm going to stick it on about 50% on the feather. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do this bit here. So I want these clouds to pop around here. So it's got a little bit, going to come to there. That's it. And I'm going to press Command J again. So I'm copying and pasting it. So again, all I've done is just selected that area only. And then I'm going to press Command L, which is going to be my layers. And all I'm going to do is just going to bring this in. There you go. And that's just going to lighten that. If I go too far, it's too much. But all I'm doing is bringing in the bits that have got no detail anyway. So move that to there. And that will do nicely. Going to go okay on that. So I'll turn it off, turn it on. So it's just a sparkle. And it's not catching your eye too much. There you go. That's lovely. This area here is a little bit dark. So again, I'm going to press Shift Command A, which brings me back into Camera Raw again. I don't want it on that one. Cancel that. Let's do the bottom layer. Shift Command A. I'm going to use another tool here, another gradient tool. So I'm going to go for the radial gradient, create radial gradient. I'm going to bring this bit in to here. There we go. Just going to do this little bit and just pull the detail up in that there. That will do. Okay, and then lighten that one up a little bit. That's not too bad there. There you go. And again, I just need a little bit of contrast there. That's lovely. And I think that's it. That's good to go now. So I'm going to save that. So I'm going to File. I'm going to flatten that. And let's have a quick look in there. Just checking around those groins to make sure everything's okay. Everything's looking not too bad, and it's absolutely spot on. That's loving that. I'd like to pull a bit more detail up in these groins just around this area. So let's have a go at that now. So I'm going to come back. Same process as before. I'm going to use the Marquee tool. Just pick up this detail here. I don't think these are going to work anyway. It doesn't really matter, to tell you the truth, because they're not the ones I'm interested in. It's these ones around here that I want to lift up a bit more detail in. So again, press Command J just to make another exposure there. You can see what I've just made. And now I'm going to use Select Subject, and it's just going to pick up the detail on those groins only. I'm now going to press Command J. So once again, turn the background layer off, turn that, put that one there. That one there is going to go in the bin. That leaves my groins, and there you go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring the groin detail up. So once again, I'm going to press Shift Command A again. I'm going to bring the shadow detail up there. And you can see it's starting to work a little bit there. So what you're seeing there now is I'm going to show you the detail there. I want this detail in the front of these groins. So if I don't do that, it's quite flat and dark, isn't it? So if I bring that up to there, that looks quite nice. A little bit of exposure. The problem with the exposure, it makes this all go pasty, but I can bring that back in later. So there you go. That's not too bad. So I can do a blend between them both. So that'll be nice. I'm going to OK with that. And then turn it off and on, and you can see the difference. You can see where it doesn't look right here. So what I've got to do is tone it down a little bit. There you go. And that's not bad at all. That's working really well there. So I'm going to go in close, come into this area, and I'm just going to use my rubber tool at about
20, 30%, and it's going to rub away some of these. There we go, from the bottom. Well, it doesn't work very well there. I'm going to 50% that actually. I'm going to take it a bit higher. There you go, because that clearly doesn't work there. There you go, get rid of that, get rid of that. And that's not too bad, it's going to work quite well. That'll work quite well now. There you go. And again, just to there, down to there. That's good. And then I need to do so another little trick here is where you want to do a straight line. So you literally click there once, and then you press your shift key and you click again, and it goes right across in one go. So I'm going to do the same again. Click here and then come over here, press the shift key, and then it goes in straight lines basically. So that's nice. So come back, and that looks really, really nice now. Quite like that. It's got a little bit of highlight in there now, so they're holding their own now against this really dramatic sky. This mood in these groins down here. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So we're going to go around now and use my remove tool. So I'm going to flatten the image, use the remove tool, and I'm going to pick up little things like that, which I'm not bothered about. It'll wake up in a minute. So it's working hard at the moment, so bear with it. There you go. So clicking on there. There you go. So I'm looking for anything that really catches my eye that doesn't really work there. Let's have a look at that. I think that's about it really. It's not too bad. Just pick up these little bits here, get rid of that, get rid of that. And I think that will do nicely. There you go. Excellent. So I'm going to save that now. So File, Save As, Edited, B and W. Save that to the desktop as a JPEG. There we go. I'm going to save that to the desktop now. I'm going to go OK. There you go. So that's a nice creative fine art black and white image taken using a fast clouds and a slow water basically. So yeah, so I think that works really, really well. Hope you like that one there. So I think that's just done there, guys. That's just giving you a quick demo on how I do that style of imagery basically. So it gives you a feel of it. So if you like what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe again. Keep the channel going, and then we'll catch you on the next one.